got the fire flow. Shorty getting down, going up the fire pole. Radical, intermittent where we mad cold. I got the bullfrog flow, you a tadpole. Feel the love, feel the rush, feel the buzz, let it brush ya. Bald eagle clutch.
Welcome to someone's favorite movie, and just like every movie is someone's favorite, this is someone's favorite movie podcast. My name is Randy. I'm coming to you from the Pod Shack outside beautiful Flint, Michigan, USA. And tonight we're talking about an obscure subgenre of the 80s slasher movie craze. This time we're talking about fitness horror. Fitness horror right into your podcast. Am I right, you guys? Huh?
Oh, my God.
Fits right into your pocket.
See? That, oh, my God, that groan there, dear listeners, just weakness leaving their bodies because this time someone's favorite movie gets lit AF. You know?
Yeah, I forgot my protein shake. It's unfortunate.
Oh, you got to be prepared. You got to get those massive gains, bro. Come on. With me today is a man in the multicolored leotard. His name is Tomko.
Hey.
Hey. And we couldn't do this alone. Oh, no, not this time. Not on this day.
We needed a spotter is what you're saying.
Absolutely. Every workout class needs a great leader, a good coach. And I'm telling you, his pink pastel headband, it's already moist from all the leg kicks and squat thrusts he's done to get in shape for this little epi. Ladies and gentlemen, from the world-famous, critically acclaimed, highly regarded slice of heaven known as the Netflix and Swill podcast, it's Dan the Mattress Man.
Oh God, I forgot about that name for a while, and now you brought it back. So thank goodness for that.
You're welcome. Dan was on after I met Dan last year on live stream for The Cure 3. The first time we actually spoke was in the green room, and we hit it off. So he came on the critically acclaimed, also highly regarded podcast known as Miserable Retail Slave. And I called him Dan the Mattress Man because we here in the Michigan. Are you familiar with this ad, Tomko? We've got a place called, I don't know what it's called, but the commercial features Dan the Mattress Man.
As I say, I know who Dan the Mattress Man is. I couldn't tell you where he works.
Yeah, I don't know either, but this is Dan from the Netflix and Swill podcast. Everyone cheer. They are right now. You can't see him or hear him. Yeah, exactly.
Nick's cheering.
Nick is cheering somewhere. By the way, listeners, never underestimate Tomko's commitment to this podcast, but because he's been going on daily 6-mile hikes to get in shape for this episode. And from what I hear, his Thigh Master is getting quite a workout too. So, hey, girls, hey.
Hey.
Yeah. How are those hikes going, by the way?
Right foot, left foot, right foot. Mm-hmm. Repeat.
You get confused sometimes in your walking
Every
cadence?
once in a while. Every once in a great while, I'll veer off course and I'll find myself in the next county without knowing how or why I'm there. But I eventually find my way home.
Christ almighty, sir. You're getting up there in age. It happens. I mean,
it does.
It's okay. It's all right. We understand. Dan, how are you, sir?
Oh, just wonderful.
Are you wonderful?
Puzzled over this amazing Lego set I'm building right now.
Yeah, why don't you tell the listeners what you're building? They're going to be very, very jelly, I bet.
I don't know if my girlfriend's going to listen to this because this is a surprise for her.
Oh.
So, Ashley, if you're listening, skip forward like 20 seconds.
Please.
So, we're doing a Patreon series for the Fast and Furious because that's one of my favorite movie franchises because it's so stupid. But Lego just announced a Dominic Toretto Charger. And so I bought it because I wanted it so I could play with it while I was watching the movie as like a 4-year-old. So I'm currently assembling that as we speak about these wonderful, wonderful movies.
I love it. One of my schemes for this summer was to get Tomko to watch all the Fast and Furious movies because I know he despises them or despises that.
Vin Diesel in particular.
Yeah, or despises the very.
I still say his best role was in Saving Private Ryan because he dies right away.
Oh snap! What about Boiler Room? Did you ever see that?
His best performance is Saving Private Ryan.
Okay, I'm not going to be able to defend the Diesel here, am I?
No.
We got a little segment on this program before we get to our cinematic gems. It's called What Are You Watching? Guests go first. Dan, what have you watched this week that's real interesting?
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. I watched a Barry J. Gillis film called Things. Now, this is not a sequel to John Carpenter's The Thing. This is a shot-on-video experimental I use experimental very loosely. The first 5 minutes are like the most entertaining part because I could not stop laughing after a certain point. But basically, two guys go up to their friend's cabin in the woods, and then the cabin is besieged by little creatures that they just call things. Everybody is horribly ADR'd over. It's the Foley work when they decide to use it is piss poor, and when they don't decide to use it, it's in the most hilarious spots. Like someone fell through a table and there was no sound. It made no sense. It was like, what the fuck are you doing, Barry J. Gillis? But it was a good time. I enjoyed myself for 5 minutes and then just kind of sleptwalked through the rest.
Got it. You have a regular B-movie Saturday, don't you?
Indeed.
What brought that about?
Mostly it was like, what can I convince my girlfriend to watch in like the worst ways possible? So like I tried to pick like the worst movies and see like at what point is she gonna quit? But then she really embraced it. So, now we're moving on to shot on video garbage to see if that'll dissuade her from watching.
I've actually started arguments with my movie selection for this podcast, so kudos to her.
Yeah,
I know she's a real fucking trooper.
Yeah,
Well,
Mrs.
I think the worst movie we saw was Hollywood Cop, and that's because I fell asleep 15 minutes before the end of it. Like it was already late at night, but I was already bored by the movie. Like it was just not good. It's an Amir Shervan movie. It's just bad. It's really bad. It's on Prime. Like most of these movies are on Prime. So if you're not subscribed to Amazon Prime, you're missing out on like a wondrous selection of B movies.
Yeah, I've said it before. Amazon Prime is like the old dusty video stores you used to go to. They've got all sorts of garbage there.
Yeah.
I like this movie Saturday thing because me and my Pookie do the same thing, and we're separated right now with this quarantine. So we watch crappy movies. She enjoys crappy movies, so we watch them together and text back and forth. Or if they're on Netflix, we do the Netflix party thing because we're hip like that. I mean,
Hip and happening.
Yeah, I think the couple that sarcastically mocks life, art, and politics is the couple that stays together. Except for Mrs. Tomko and Tomko, they're very committed, and Mrs. Tomko does not have a very high opinion of me based on the pop culture I make her husband consume.
Yeah, I had to quarantine myself away from her in the bedroom this afternoon while I was watching these, in fact.
What are you doing in there, Tomko?
Watching a shitty movie you don't want to watch. Get away.
Exactly. Never mind the ladies jazzercising on the screen. Just walk away.
Just shield your eyes, Mrs. Tomko. Shield your eyes. Tomko, what are you watching?
I accidentally had a bit of a Rory Culkin marathon this week.
Holy shit. How does accidentally fall into a Rory marathon?
Yeah. Well, I was thumbing around on Hulu and I saw a movie called Lords of Chaos. Have you heard of this?
I saw the cover recently. I don't know where I saw it, but that's where I saw it. Yeah.
Is that Swedish black, like death metal?
Norwegian black metal, yes.
Yeah. I've heard about it. I haven't seen it, but I've heard about it.
I've seen documentaries about the band. They were called Mayhem. And it's one of those stories that you think it has to be made up because it's so ludicrous.
Sure.
Their original lead singer was fascinated with death to the point where he would bury his clothes for a week, dig them up, and then wear them on stage while he was throwing around pigs' heads to the audience. Eventually, he ended up shooting himself, and Rory Culkin's character, rather than calling the police, grabbed a disposable camera, took a bunch of photos, and they ended up as the cover for a live bootleg album. And eventually he ended up being killed by a bandmate who was going around the Netherlands setting churches on fire.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
It is a really, like I said, it's one of those things that you can't believe really happened, but it absolutely did. And the other thing I was watching, again, based on a true story, was that Waco miniseries. It's on Netflix. It's got Michael Shannon. Okay. I can't remember the actress's name. She plays Ruth on Ozark, and it also has
Julia
Melissa.
Garner.
Yes, and it also has Melissa Benoist. It's one of those. It kind of reminded me of the People versus OJ, where even though you walk into it knowing exactly how it's going to end, it just has this sense of dread kind of draped all over it because you know how it's going to end. What about yourself, sir? What have you been watching?
Well, I'm very devoted to our listeners, you see. So I took one for the team because
Go on.
well, yeah, I've been taking them on a regular basis. But I mentioned this a while ago, this particular movie, and I thought, and well, the term movie is used very loosely in this instance, not instant. Maybe both. I don't know. I don't know how words work, apparently. Because we're talking about fitness horror. So I decided to watch Linnea Quigley's horror workout.
Oh.
Yes. Oh, indeed.
Describe this.
Linnea Quigley is a scream queen from the 80s. We encountered her, Tomko, when we did our Silent Night, Deadly Night marathon. She's the last that got impaled on the deer antlers in the house.
Okay, yeah. Wasn't she also in Return of the Living Dead?
Yeah, she was. Yeah,
all right, I know exactly what you're talking about.
She's been in a lot of things. This seemed to be marketed squarely at her wanking fan audience. The things we did before the internet, honestly, because so this entire, it's only an hour. It's sort of fun. I kind of love that it exists. But right off the bat, it starts off with Linnea in the shower lathering up, lingering camera shots. I'm like, okay, I see what's going on here. Then we go straight to clips from her movies, such treasures as Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers, Creepazoids, Sorority Babes, and Slimeball Bolorama. I mean, come on. And then we watch her. Yes, absolutely. Then we watch her work out for an extended period. Lots of setups, leg lifts. All the while, she's seductively looking at the camera. And yes, she's wearing a metal bra and fishnets. And it's all filmed in someone's living room with their awful 80s orange carpet. After this, it cuts to her jogging, and she passes through a graveyard, and zombies rise from their grave, and she leads them all in a workout routine. Not quite thriller levels of choreography, though, sad to say.
And do you know what year this came out? I'm genuinely curious.
1988, 89, something like that. Finally, at the very end, she has a slumber party. She invites some friends over. They wear short nightgowns, of course. They have pillow fights. They watch another scene from one of her movies. In this scene, she makes out with some dude's chest and then grows sharp teeth and bites his peen off as a cloud of smoke fills the area. Very weird. But they're loving watching it. And then finally, the lights go out, and there's a fun commentary and parody of slasher movies as a slasher starts stalking the women. And I really wish this wasn't the entire movie because it's kind of clever. But you only have 10 minutes left, which is a shame. So you have a slasher in a Ronald Reagan mask. He starts taking out the girls one by one with an axe and knife and drill. And that's the best part of the movie. I wish that was the whole thing. Sadly, no.
Lame.
So lame.
So she was being stalked by one of the ex-presidents from Point Blank?
Yeah, it was Patrick Swayze, believe it or not. An extended, uncredited cameo.
It's a living.
Well, you got to do what you got to do. You can't put Baby in the corner. Sometimes you could have put Swayze in the corner. You know?
I mean, he can't play pedophiles in Donnie Darko for his entire life.
No, he can't. I mean...
But he can dream, damn it.
The entire reason we're doing this today is because of Dan. This is all Dan's fault.
Yeah, this is actually my fault for once.
This is Dan's fault.
I started doing B-Movie Saturday in like February, and that's when you started really doing getting into this podcast. So eventually I started watching a lot of B movies, and I'm like, well, Randy, you got to check this out. This is great. This is really entertaining. I think I've recommended Jim Cotta, Alien Private Eye, Project Metal Beast, this, and you're like, I've heard about this movie Death Spa that's almost exactly like Killer Workout. Yeah. If you find it, you're on the show.
Yep.
Well, needless to say, I never found it.
Yeah, but I did. So the reason,
that's dedication.
It is dedication. The reason I know that Aerobicide, it came out theatrically as Killer Workout, but I'm calling it Aerobicide because that's fun. The reason we're doing it,
title.
Yeah, you posted in the Epic Film Guys group on Facebook, the Hobster's Dumpster, that you were watching Aerobicide. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? I need to be in on this. So I watched it, and I said, oh, my God, this is the best. And there's a part in that movie where on the side of the building, a couple of street toughs spray paint Aerobicide and Death Spa. And I'm like, holy shit. I know Death Spa. That's another movie. We'll get there. But I'm like, that would be the perfect double feature. Holy shit. Tomko, don't you agree it's the perfect double feature?
Perfect for what? I don't know, but it is perfect.
Thank you. I'm glad you agree that it's perfection. That's all I wanted. The 80s were a weird time, man. So weird. As Shelley McKenzie, author of the book Getting Physical, The Rise of Fitness Culture in America, said, the 80s was a decade when fat became evil. Right? 80s.
I think that's very accurate. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
sounds right.
It was a time of excess, material objects, superficiality. Fat's evil and must be destroyed. But in these two movies we're about to watch, beauty must be destroyed. Oh, killer workout. I mean, I feel forever changed after watching this one, and I don't know if it's for the better or worse. Dan, how in the name of Sweating to the Oldies did you ever hear about this, John?
So I'm a purveyor of Red Letter Media. They are a very cynical group of people, maybe as cynical as I am, possibly even more, which is quite a feat upon itself. But they watch a lot of terrible movies a lot of the time. So whenever they talk about their terrible movies, I go and I think like, oh, maybe I should watch that one day. Well, I heard about Killer Workout through them. I'm like, fuck it, it's on Prime. I'll go watch it. And lo and behold, amazing classic for all time.
Absolutely. Can you even believe it, folks? He didn't even need a metal detector to find this gold. It was just out there. And there it was. So, Aerobicide starts out. The tagline on the poster, by the way, this is very important. Something very unhealthy is happening at Rhonda's health club. Other tagline, this workout will kill you. I love those taglines.
I wish it killed me.
I was going to say, it got to the point.
You guys are brutal. This was a great movie. So it begins.
Sure.
So it begins this movie with a woman named Valerie. She gets a message from her agent saying she's being flown to Paris the very next day because she landed on the cover of Cosmopolitan. The agent told the Cosmo people that she had the best tan, so make sure that tan is spot on. And I should mention during this scene the whole time, the theme song for the movie is playing, and it's called Woman on Fire. Literally, the lyrics are, I'm a woman on fire, and it frightens me so. Right here, folks, is the number one reason that I hate our friend Sweet Daniel here. This bloody song got stuck in my head for a fortnight at least, and I couldn't tell you why.
Woman on fire!
Yeah. I always...
so terribly 80s. It's amazing.
I always get songs of the worst quality jammed in my stupid head and stuck on repeat. And apparently this song has some bops in it because it was there forever. So this Woman on Fire, of course, she goes to the Second Sun tanning salon to get her tan on. But then that tanning bed malfunctions and she's engulfed in flames. How's that tan working out for you now? Oh.
Well, let's talk about her receiving the voicemail. So like the whole time we're only getting like shoulders down.
Yeah.
Shots of her. We never see her face, and that's by design. So because reasons which will eventually be discovered later in the movie, but we like when she gets the voicemail, like she very silently does like an excited stomp, and like it's a Quentin Tarantino shot of just like her feet like stomping excitedly.
Yeah.
There's no sound, like she doesn't say anything until she gets lit on fire, which makes no sense. Like if you're excited, squeal like do like ooh or something like that. I don't know. Like show emotion as opposed to like I don't know, Quentin Tarantino showing up on set for a day.
I wouldn't be surprised if Quentin Tarantino's a fan of this movie, actually.
I could see that.
I could see it, too. You ever go tanning, Tomko?
Not intentionally, no.
Okay. It's because you know that tanning booths are hotbeds for vengeance, isn't it?
They are.
That's how you
now,
know.
Are you guys old enough to remember the 80s, out of curiosity?
Well,
Oh, no, not at all.
I was born in 1981. I should hope so.
I was born in 1989.
Oh,
The reason why I ask is I already remember when tanning beds were first getting really popular, and it was always the joke. You're about sticking yourself in the microwave and you're going to burn yourself. So I thought that the whole aspect of being burned alive in a tanning bed was kind of funny from that perspective.
well, I think it's kind of... Who thought it was a bright idea to be like, this is our fucking theme song. Let's put it on right when the goddamn woman's about to get set on fire. Like, she's literally a woman on fire. Aren't we clever?
Are you saying that the people who made this movie might not have had the best taste, sir?
Possibly?
Come on.
I mean, flash forward, we're at a place called Rhonda's Workout, and we see dozens of highly toned women doing perfectly synchronized aerobics to the sound of a totally 80s synth ballad that almost sounds like a song you've heard before, but not quite. Just a little off. Like, there's spandex headbands, no shortage of gratuitous TNA, and boy, golly, these women are fierce. They're into this. There's a number of these workout interludes, and they're all led by songs with such deep lyrics, such as, you gotta work out, have a workout.
Work out till you die.
Yeah,
That was my
Aerobicide,
favorite one.
working out till you die. It's great.
All right, so who is everyone's favorite aerobics girl? Mine was the one that looked like the bumblebee and mean mugged the camera the whole time.
Yeah. She was working on some auditions there. I don't know.
She's like, hi Hollywood people, please notice me.
Yeah,
I'm
look at
shaking
me.
my ass on this movie.
The camera loves me.
I personally got a kick out of the one guy with the huge beard in the background for no reason. He's just sitting there taking part in the class. It's like one of these things is not like the other.
Well, one of the things that was not like the other, they showed that poor overweight woman just huffing it on that bicycle off to the side for no reason. I'm like, jeez, what are you doing? Maybe we should have danced along with the screen. As they danced, we should have danced, and maybe in our completely exhausted state, we would have bought all the plot holes in this movie. Because I'm
sure that there's a special instructional ADR in the special edition Blu-ray for you.
I tell you what, if this ever comes out on Blu-ray, I'm buying it. I'm telling you that right now.
Yeah, not to get too much into it, but there's a scene very late in the movie where, because I watched this on Prime, the VHS quality that they uploaded it from, there was significant tracking issues. So
yes,
it kind of ruins that scene. I mean, not that scene wasn't already ruined by what happens in it, but I want like a film to DVD quality. Like I want something better than what we got.
Yeah,
because I deserve it. God damn it,
you do deserve it. You're a trooper. That's the thing, Tomko. The version that's on Amazon Prime, the version I sent you is a lot better. Believe it or not.
Really?
The version on Amazon Prime was ripped straight from a VHS because there's actual tracking marks in it. And at some point, the screen screws up like old school VCR tapes did.
Wow.
I know. I was like, come on.
Does it have like that superimposed play in the upper left-hand corner when you start the movie?
I really wish it would have.
Surprisingly not.
Yeah.
I wish.
Yeah, that would have been great. So leading this workout class is Rhonda of Rhonda's Workout. And as she's doing so pervy goon named Jimmy stands off to the side, and he's leering and tries to ask her out for the 100th time. And ominous music sounds play when she says, no. And he glares as she marches off. And I'm like, is this a parody or something? Because it was so out of place. I'm like, what the? Okay. So one woman is left behind from the class, showering, of course. She's in there all by herself. The lights go out. And we get the standard POV shot of the killer closing in to murder this girl. I mean, because if your name isn't Freddie, Michael, or Jason, some suburban white guy's name, then you're probably going to get these POV shots to begin with, because we like to play Agatha Christie mysteries with these movies. So we see the POV close in on this woman, and he unleashes his unique choice of a murder weapon, a giant safety pin.
I mean, you can't go wrong with a giant safety pin as your murder weapon. So effective, so obscure that no one would guess that that's how you murdered somebody.
I can't tell you how bloody pleased I was to see a giant safety pin being used as the murder weapon in this movie. Like, what the fuck? Tomko, what do you...
When I was a kid, my aunt had a keychain exactly like that.
Oh, you know what's hilarious, Tomko? You know where the idea for that as the murder weapon came from?
My aunt?
Close. Close. So the idea for the killer keychain safety pin came from Ted Pryor, who plays the undercover cop in the movie, the useless guy Chuck, who doesn't solve a darn thing except get in fights.
The director's brother.
Exactly. He is the director's brother. It was his idea. In an interview, he said, I really had nothing to do with the concept or movie for that matter. I was too busy partying and being a maniac. Although
You don't say.
Yeah. Although I think I came up with the idea for the giant safety pin. It was on a keychain I saw. So there you go.
All right. Yeah.
Man.
Real proud of you, David Pryor.
Maybe
Or Ted Pryor, whichever Pryor you are.
Ted Pryor. Get the Pryors right. Maybe the keychain he saw was your aunt's keychain. Maybe your aunt...
It could very well have been. She was a bit of a kook.
See? Maybe your aunt's the reason Aerobicide exists. Thank God for your aunt. That's all.
Thank you, Aunt Patty.
Thanks, Patty. Patty Co. Ooh, that's fun to say.
One thing is that you know what her husband's name is?
Oh God, I can't even.
Pat.
Patco?
Pat.
Man.
And her son's name? Pat.
Oh,
so
my
Pat and Patty Co.
That's
Oh my
amazing.
God. What?
Did somebody not set them aside and be like, listen, there's whole books devoted to naming babies. Like we can change this. We can beat the system. My mom and
make it better.
My mom and dad used to be friends with two people named Kim. Guy Kim, girl Kim. They were married. I'm like, yeah, that's ridiculous.
Well, I'm sure I told you about this, Randy, but I told you what my one cousin's name is, didn't I?
I don't know.
Chris.
Crisco.
Yes.
That's fantastic. Why doesn't he have a YouTube show called Cooking with Crisco?
That would be amazing.
He needs it.
To make this man famous. Let's go. We have the power.
We do have the power.
I'll let her know next time I talk to her.
Okay. Please do. Like, I'll be an investor. There's nothing but money to be made here. Got nothing else to do in this quarantine. Finding hot talent out there. I'll make it huge, you see?
So now that I've completely derailed the show with my fucked up family tree.
Yeah, we learned all about the coast tonight. And people will be charting that on their genealogy charts. Well, there's Mrs. Tomco, Patco, Pattico, Crisco. Jeez, oh, Pete.
Well, I said if I had a kid, I'd name him Edgar Allan.
I mean, can't you at least get a cat or something and call him Edgar Allan Co? I mean, that's just, you can't waste that. You've been gifted with the best last name in the history of the universe.
I really, really have. Yes. Yeah. Yes, I have.
Like, I love saying Tomco because it sounds like it's all one word. So
there is actually a company out there called Tomco.
Is it your company?
No.
How can we change that? Yeah.
Turns out like tubes of sausage, those giant metal twisties.
Keep it PG. This is a fucking family program, please.
The clamps that you use to keep the sausage tube bound together.
You're gonna make me. Oh God.
Those are made by a company called Tomco.
Okay, so some sexual deviant sex toys is made by a company called Tomco. That's great. Ugh. What were we talking about? I don't remember.
Let's never forget Ronco, though.
I actually have a uncle named Ron.
Rest in peace, Ron Popeil. I assume you're dead at this point.
Oh man. Okay. Killer workout.
Yes, we were talking about my Aunt Patty's keychain, the safety pin keychain.
Yeah, absolutely. Give me your thoughts on the movie, Tomco. You've been a silent boy, other than your family tree.
I was bored silly. I think I made the mistake of watching these movies back to back.
That was a mistake, probably.
I watched Death Spa first.
Ooh.
And then I started on this one, and by this point, it was just kind of 80s overload, to be honest.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, these are just back to back neon 80s ODs.
A lot of cocaine, you're saying.
A lot of cocaine, a lot of mousse in the hair, a lot of blue eyeliner.
A lot of blue eyeliner.
Yeah, it was something.
It was something. What are your thoughts on it so far there, Dan?
Oh, I mean, we're up to the first death, and like immediately after this, like we don't know that anyone's dead. Like no one in the movie knows that anyone's dead, so it just keeps going for those POV shots, and it's like, oh, this is weird. Why are you doing that? Like none of these characters know that a murder is happening. And I know we're gonna get to it. I want to get to it now. Let's fucking talk about the arm in the locker for some fucking reason, like the fake plastic arm.
Yeah. That no reason for it whatsoever. Yeah.
Like, if you're someone who wants to fuck with somebody, sure, like I can appreciate that. But like, what?
Yeah, there's a scene where one of the women there, who is involved with one of the men, goes into his locker to look at his jockstrap.
Oh, her name is Jamie. You get it right.
Yeah, well, good old Jamie is obsessed with that jockstrap, and she's fiddling around with the lockers, and she finds the arm first, and then she finds an entire body. Oh my god! Like, maybe stop looking in lockers, would you?
A fucking comedy cut. It's like bump.
Right.
It's fucking incredible.
Yeah. So, of course, the police are brought in, and there's an undercover cop who you don't know is undercover at first, but you kind of know because he's acting all weird. His name's Chuck, and boy, does he have biceps. He's really working out, and the camera's just watching him work out. And he gets into 2 epic fights throughout the movie with the creepy Jimmy. Hold on.
I've seen better choreography on playground mock fights.
Well, the word epic was kind of in quotations, really.
I want to talk about Detective Morgan.
Okay, yeah.
He is quite possibly the worst acted character I've ever seen in my entire life. And I've seen a lot of bad shit. He is horrendous with how bad of a character he is. And we'll talk about one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen in a little bit, but special shout out to this guy. Like he has no presence. He's just saying things, and everyone's just like, "What the fuck is this guy?" Like everyone else seems to be at least competent, with the exception of whichever Pryor brother is on screen. I'm never gonna remember.
Ted Pryor.
Ted.
TP.
Yeah, Ted Pryor.
Yes.
Which now you need to do Deadly Prey. You're welcome.
Okay. Yeah.
Because he's the star of that. Because David did that after this with his brother.
It's a family affair.
Yeah. So, yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm rambling now.
Yeah. So that's David Campbell that's played the old Morgan there. I assume the scene you're referring to is at the end, because that's probably the funniest thing ever.
Oh no! It's coming up. It's real quick coming up.
Okay.
With Detective Morgan.
All right. So, yeah, there's an undercover cop named Chuck, and he gets in a fight with Jimmy. First, because Jimmy's like, "Stay away from Rhonda. That's my babe," and he's like, "I don't want anything to do." So they fight in the parking lot or whatever, and the undercover cop goes off with some hot broad, and
he's undercover, but he's working at the gym, and the girl's like, "Come over to my place." It's like, "Yeah, fuck it, I just started my job, but I'll go to
why
your
not?
place. Who cares?"
And there was no reason for him to go over there, and he got nothing accomplished other than getting laid. So good for him, I guess. While he sipped on his Diet Pepsi.
Strategically placed in order to possibly get some advertising money. Also, let's talk about the fact that this girl has a backyard telephone.
Yeah, right? How rich are you, woman? This is...
Oh, my.
Yeah, this was 1987. Who has a backyard telephone? Crazy. We see, more deaths start happening, and we see, what seems to be 25 of them all back to back to back to back to back. All these hot 20-somethings are dying. And at one point, we see a dude get his head crushed with a weight. And my favorite, another gets a giant safety pin right into the forehead. This isn't good for business at all. Not at all.
You skipped over my favorite scene of the movie.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right. So we have a lead. Detective Morgan finds a bloody knitting needle.
Yes.
So he goes and follows the girl home, and she's taking off all of her clothes because we need that in this movie. There's a lot of that in this movie of random taking off of clothes. And Detective Morgan walks up to the door and starts banging on it. And he's just like, open up! Open the door! Open up! It never identifies himself as the cop, and he's just like trying to fucking break down this door. Like he gets progressively more aggressive towards this door. It's the most incredible acting piece I've ever seen. It's like, wait a minute, he's a cop. Just go, like, say you're a cop and then break in like cops do.
And meanwhile, the girl is getting murdered on the inside as he's just screaming at the door. Ridiculous. Chuck thinks that Jimmy might be the killer, and he finds out that Jimmy's totally obsessed with Rhonda. So of course he goes to Rhonda's house to protect her. Well, Jimmy sees Chuck because they're both hiding in the bushes. Jimmy sees Chuck hiding in the bushes, spying on Rhonda, who's swimming in the pool. This is a point I'll get back to later in the movie because, come on, she's swimming in the pool, and so Jimmy jumps on him and just whoops that ass. Just beats the poop out of him. And then throws him in the swimming pool. That's when they find out that he's actually a cop sent by Rhonda's silent partner to investigate the goings-on in the spa. Because I guess you need all the help you can get because old Detective Morgan there ain't cutting it right now. Until he has a hunch, this guy. Somehow he gets a hunch. And I'm fast forwarding a little bit, but he gets a hunch and he goes to Rhonda's house. Completely missed the part where he discovered why this is a thing, but he says that Rhonda is actually the girl from the beginning of the movie. She's actually Valerie.
Yeah. So the basic setup to that was that Morgan is like walking back to his car for some reason, and then someone over the radio goes, "Morgan, you're going to have to come down to the police station. You got to see this shit." And then he goes to the police station to see this shit. Like, that's the setup for it. Like, there's no real payoff other than, like, he shows up and he's like, "You're Valerie."
Yeah. Okay, I guess that's why I missed the explanation, because there really was none. It was just, we don't have time, money, or effort to give to him doing any police work, so we'll just be like, hey, some intern found this. So it turns out that Rhonda was the girl from the beginning, and she has a burnt head, and she wears a wig. And she was burned over 70% of her body, leading to an interesting flashing from her right in the middle of the living room. However, her face is perfectly flawless, not a mark on it. Best skin you've ever seen. And by the way, we saw her in a swimsuit earlier in the movie. Her arms and back were not burnt whatsoever.
Oh, no, but that was shot at night. Of course, that was to distract you from the fact
Sure.
that her arms and back weren't burnt because it was shot at night.
Oh,
I can't see well.
Yeah, I know. I know they were trying to get away from the continuity there, but come on. Later on, Rhonda kills Jimmy after Jimmy sees her naked. She's all burnt. And I tell you what, thing is, she's not really that bad, even burnt.
Yeah, she had some nice burnt boobies.
Yeah, right? You're kind of cute. But she shoots him to death, and whatever. Whatever. I mean, her entire motivation is because she feels like she's not a pretty girl anymore. And so, of course, why wouldn't you open up a workout spot so you can look at all the pretty girls so your complex can grow more and more? And that's why she started killing all the pretty girls. So we get to my favorite part of the movie, which is when Detective Morgan leads her to some country road, takes her for a walk onto his country property, and he's planning on committing some vigilante justice just like his father did to the Midnight Strangler so many years before. And the lieutenant takes Rhonda out down a path with a shovel. And at this point, Rhonda is almost considered a hero in the city because she killed Jimmy in self-defense and it's girl power and whatnot. The lieutenant knows that she's responsible for all the murders, and he's going to put a stop to this menace. And while he's monologuing and lost in thought, he looks to the sky, saying how somehow I know my father will understand, and he's just gazing. Meanwhile, turning his back, on who he knows to be a serial killer.
Yes.
So, of course, Rhonda crushes him in the face with the shovel. Smart police work. Good job, guy.
Oh my God. So it's unfortunate that like there was tracking on the Amazon Prime version because this is the scene where it happens. I'm like, I really want to watch like 8 more minutes of this guy just fucking talking for no reason. It's great.
Yeah, he just stares off into the distance, and yeah. At the club, she's greeted with a hero's welcome again, and it seems like she's got more and more business because she's a hero. And one of her coworkers pitches her on an ad saying that this ad's going to bring in tons more beautiful bodies. And Rhonda says, I'm counting on it. And we get that 80s ending where she pulls out the giant safety pin from her keychain and laughs maniacally.
Well, that's not quite the end.
No?
You get another workout montage.
Well, you do.
Sorry. Yeah,
that's
you're
true.
Right. We forgot about that. That's so important.
It is important. You get some more of those 80s jams. And
I believe the technical term is buffalo shot.
Oh, damn.
Oh, my God.
Also,
I love all the montages of this movie. That's what makes this entirely.
Honestly, if you took those out, the entire movie would be, 45 minutes?
Probably, because the movie's only an hour and 20, I think, something like that. The soundtrack is on YouTube, if you look. So if you're looking for a woman on fire, it's there.
Well, I know what I'm ripping off of the internet tonight.
Yeah. So, Tomko, you didn't like this whatsoever, did you?
I just thought I could not keep any interest in it. I tried, and I just kept finding myself getting distracted, trying to keep up with the plot, realizing that was a losing battle because the movie couldn't keep up with its own plot. And I just got like the main bullet points from the story. I
must be a sick fuck because the first time I watched it, it really stuck with me. I'm like, oh, that was kind of fun. I had a good time with that.
Yeah.
And so I was...
Again, I think my mistake was watching these movies back to back because I had the complete opposite reaction to Death Spa.
Yeah, and I was happy to watch this again. I enjoyed it. I mean, almost just as much the second time. So I think it's a fun B movie. Daniel, what do you think?
Yeah, it's fine. It's nonsense. Like there's multiple instances where why the fuck haven't the police closed down this place? Like this is like the 9th person murdered in this gym, and no one's like. Right. Oh, well, maybe we should just shut down the place. Like, fuck what the owner says. Shut it down.
In both of these movies, you'd figure that eventually word of mouth would get out that all of these people are dying in that one place, and their traffic would eventually slow to a crawl.
You got to get those gains, bro. Can't take a day off. You shitting me? Only day you can take off is leg day. Fuck. Got to get those buys and tries popping. Come on now.
I want to argue with that logic, but I can't.
You can't. You absolutely can't. So we get to Death Spa, and this is... I said before how Death Spa popped into my head. I didn't say how I knew Death Spa. I've known of Death Spa since I was a teenager. During the scrambled Cinemax days, Death Spa used to be a frequent movie, I guess. Around midnight it would be on. And as we're about to talk about, Death Spa has a very sexual scene right off the bat. And of course, 13-year-old me is not going to change the channel. I randomly discovered it. It was on Amazon Prime a couple of years ago, and I randomly discovered it again. And I didn't realize until I started watching it more that was the movie that I watched in a scrambled fashion from my youth. And the crazy, insane things. I mean, Tomko talked about how he had a Rory Culkin, like, extravaganza. Well,
oh, yes.
I had myself a Sherry Shattuck extravaganza without realizing it. She is the actress that plays Catherine in this movie, The Vengeful Ghost. She was also in another piece of garbage that I watched earlier that week that I rediscovered Death Spa. She was in a movie called Uninvited. And this movie's about a boat at sea.
With the cat?
With the fucking cat, yeah.
Yes!
So they're out at sea. A couple of pretty girls hook up with these douchebags and criminals. And they're out on sea, and this cat that escaped from some lab hitches a ride on the boat. And it's a cat that can vomit up some weird mutant cat that's literally the worst puppet you've ever seen. And if the weird mutant cat scratches you, you like puss up and explode. And that's what happens to her in that movie. She gets all these boils on her face. Actually, that scene's pretty cool. It's really good 80s practical effects. But yes, if you're into movies with cats puking up mutant cats, that's the one for you. I mean, come on. There's a big market out there for that. Certainly, you've got a Co in your family that can film another movie like that, right? Cat Co.
There's a Co in my family that can puke up mutant cats, and I was about to tell you about my cousin Phil.
Oh, Phil Co. I should have known.
Yeah, we're out there, folks.
Yeah. Death Spa. Tagline, you'll sweat blood. You sure will.
I mean, sure.
Yeah. This one starts out outside the Starbody Health Spa when lightning helpfully hits the lit up sign. So we see that Starbody Health Spa is actually Death Spa. And we've got super levels of gratuitousness right off the bat. The lovely dancing Laura is in the shower, laying down in the sauna, just all sweaty and showery and glistening. And the camera's just loving it, by the way. Just loving it. And suddenly the fucker starts spitting out a lot more steam. She gets some chemical burns all over her body. That's a bummer. Michael, the owner of Death Spa, comes to check on her because it's his girlfriend and employee. Conflict of interest, huh, guy? Anyway.
It's the 80s. No one cared.
Yeah.
They didn't.
He's the guy that runs the health club, which is probably the most 80s health club you've ever seen in your life. For whatever reason, all the equipment in the place is hooked up to computers, ran from a control room, which makes no sense whatsoever, but they can manually increase resistance straight from the computers in the control room. This is the perfect instance of computers in the 80s. Nobody knew how they worked. They were like magic genies. They could do anything. Big Brother wants to know how quickly you can run a mile. Get off my back, government. My freedom, my rights. How dare you? Don't mock my mile. Anyways, he's dating this Laura, but he also has a past because he was involved with a woman named Catherine who was pregnant with his child, but somehow due to the pregnancy, caught some paralysis, lost the baby, and then poured gas all over herself and set herself on fire, and she burned into unrecognizable ashes, which is a phrase that's repeated a few times in the movie.
She's a woman on fire.
I mean, they missed their chance.
I know, right?
And also, since Michael's a good man, he's given Catherine's brother the job of running the computer system in the club, which and she comes back to haunt the goddamn place in the weirdest way possible. So she starts making the club go wacky, melting women with hot water, making heads explode, making multicolored tiles attack poor naked women in the shower. I mean, why do women in all these movies who take showers look as though they're being sprayed by 1,000 tiny orgasms? Always just eyes closed, mouth open, slowly rubbing themselves. That's not how I take a shower ever. I just jump in, swear because the water's too cold, swear because I'm running late, jump out, got soap in my ears, shampoo in my eyes, shivering the whole damn time. That's how I do it. I don't know what these women are.
Yeah, like a real man.
Yeah. Daniel, what do you think about this movie? This Death Spa?
Fuck, dude. Oh boy, this is oof. This is a piece of shit. This is a piece of shit.
It's pretty bad.
It's really. I think this is worse than Killer Workout, and maybe this has to do with something like because I watched Killer Workout first, but like I had a tough time even following what the fuck was happening in this movie.
I only knew what was going on because I had seen it before, and so I knew where to pay attention. The first time that I saw this, I mean, not including my teen years, but when I saw it a couple of years ago, I could not connect the dots whatsoever. It's very hard to follow.
No, you know what? I think, Dan, you and I had the exact same experience, just in reverse, where I just could not make sense out of Killer Workout, but I didn't have any problem with this one, and that's because I think I watched it first and vice versa for you.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's what it seems like, because I said I watched this like a month and a half ago, and then I watched it again, yesterday or 2 days ago, and then I watched Death Spa, and I'm like, what, huh?
I mean, but it shouldn't be that way, right? Like, you should be able to watch any movie and have it be perfectly clear every time you watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that either one of these movies are, competently made. I'm just saying that I had fun with this one because, fatigue hadn't set in.
sure. When I revisited it a couple of years ago, I did not like it, but I watched it yesterday and I liked it a lot more for some reason. I actually had a good time. I did not watch both movies back to back, so maybe that had to do with a lot of it too. Like, that's too much cheese. I mean, I like some cheese, but too much cheese, you get too much cheese in your mouth and it overwhelms you. And you gotta step back and take a drink and be like, ugh.
I don't know. I thought that the third act of this was just fun in the fact that it was just so over the top and ridiculous, where you're having, for whatever reason, you're having a Halloween party in the spa.
Oh, it was the Mardi Gras party.
Lady's hand is being eaten by a blender
Right.
before the cop is sucked into the kitchen and is attacked by the worst looking puppet fish you'll ever see.
Yeah,
No, I agree with you. The third act is a lot of fun, but it's like the lead up and like the kills are fun, but the actual plot is just like beyond nonsense.
It's incredibly stupid.
The special effects in this movie are really good, I think.
I agree.
And some of them are downright nasty, like when the woman goes down to the basement because she gets a note that she thinks is from Michael, the health spa owner, and it's actually from Catherine, and she goes down into the basement, and I guess the water is way hot or something. I don't know, but she melts in the basement.
They explained it that there was like high concentrations of chlorine in there, so chlorine being an acid, it started to like that's what happened to Laura,
yeah.
or Lauren in the beginning of the movie, is that like there's this high concentrations of very hot chlorine, and that started to like melt her, and I think that's what they were going for here as well.
Gotcha. Well, she becomes just a puddle in the basement, so that's nasty. And then there's a scene where a couple the night of the party are making out in the sauna, and the dude's head randomly explodes. I'm like, oh, damn. That's great.
I also thought the paranormal psychologist who discovered the melted girl, when his death scene, I thought was actually pretty impressive because he's smart enough to at least bring a gun to something like this. He fires it, but it backfires and blows his hand off.
Yeah. And then doesn't he get bounced off the ceiling or something?
Bounced off the ceiling and thrown down some kind of conveyor belt.
There's a lot of ridiculousness to get to Michael picks up Laura, who's blinded by the chlorine. She's otherwise fine. The blinding is going to be temporary. And he decides to put together this great dinner, and he wears a tuxedo and starts feeding her asparagus, and she's like, "Oh, this is a great dinner." I'm like, "Is it though?"
Again, the way that they framed that shot, I just kept thinking paging Dr. Freud.
Right? Yeah. Isn't it though? It's the best.
Oh my god! It's like oh my god! All I have written down about that scene is asparagus. That's it.
Right. That's all you need to write down. I also thought that it was a waste of effort to wear the tuxedo because she can't see you, dude. So, I mean,
well, not only that, but her hair, her nails, her makeup, especially, is perfect. Who the hell's doing that for a blind lady? Is she doing it? Is she hiring somebody to do it?
He's like, I've seen you without that makeup, and that just won't do. No girl of mine.
Well, I mean, she's got a doll up around the ridiculous-looking eye bandages she has.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. She's probably got eyeliner on underneath the bandages too, I'm sure.
Cotton swabs and ace bandages. That's all it was.
Yep. Oh,
but no, I mean, I had a lot of fun. I mean, even in the first 2/3 of the movie where it felt like the wrong kind of time capsule, where every single thing in this movie has aged, and it's aged poorly. The clothes, the cars, the hair, the architecture. Even the architecture is badly dated.
Yeah, it's definitely 80s. 80s all over. So Catherine is able to come back from the dead somehow.
It's because she possesses her twin brother's body.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is very weird at some points because you're not sure the way the scene is filmed and plays out. You're not sure if David, her brother, is having sex with her as a ghost or what's going on. It's really weird. But
I admit it was I don't want to say a good plot twist, but it definitely, kind of, they went that route, huh?
Yeah, it was really weird because it's like, oh, they're just doing a poltergeist. It's just a regular old poltergeist, and it's like, oh no, it's not.
At first, I thought it was going to be one of those situations where I thought it was going to be kind of a ripoff of Psycho, where the brother was dressing up and convinced himself that he was the dead sister and was causing all of the deaths himself. No, they went the whole paranormal route.
The ending of Death Spa, I love this scene because Michael ties his shoes to the electrical lines feeding the computer system and makes a lot of faces, and it's really great. It's really great. Like, I screenshotted a couple of them. I'm like, I totally am going to use this for promotion or something because they're great. And this, for some reason, causes Catherine to burst into flames. She's a woman on fire again. Meanwhile, as Catherine, the ghost, is on fire, like, everybody in the spa is dying. Like, the spa is on fire and people are getting trampled on and trying to escape. And it's crazy. And then they get into the computer room with the one remaining cop, and the charred corpse of Catherine grabs him one more time, but the cop shoots it in the face a few times, no problem.
Just casually shoots it. Hold on, I've got this.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, done. But that's not all, because there's a random ending where the stupid corpse, looking like the worst puppet ever, its eyeball oozes out and it like cackles or something. I don't know whose idea that was, but fuck you.
That's what I love about this ending. They thought they had a hit on their hand to the point where they left themselves open for a sequel.
Right. Yeah. Did you guys stay for the credits? Because the ending song is amazing.
No. I had Killer Workout to move on to.
Yeah. So the song is called Killer Groove by the band Squirt Gun, apparently. And the lyrics go, found an uptown couple who've been danced to death, nothing left but a burnt spot on the floor. Lock your windows, lock your doors, the Killer Groove is back for more. Fuck yeah. 80s.
Oh, wow.
Little trivia from this movie. Actress Karen Parsons made her screen debut and was brought in to audition for the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air after NBC executive saw the movie on late night cable. She played Hillary on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Will Smith.
My girlfriend screamed at least 9 times, "Oh my God, it's Hillary from Fresh Prince." So
perfect. She knows. Also, Tomko, do you know who Walter Shenson is?
No.
You should know who Walter Shenson is. He was an uncredited producer on the movie, but he was very, Lord forbid why he would not want his name on this fucking movie. But he was an uncredited producer on this movie, and he was also instrumental in getting it made. Walter Shenson is the visionary, the man, the myth behind such movies as Help and A Hard Day's Night.
No shit.
So how did this get made? Covered this movie a few years ago, and they had a piece on it. They did a companion piece where they interviewed people from the movie. And David Shaughnessy, who plays the cop that gets eaten by the fucking fish in the cooler, I guess him and Walter were close, and he said, "You want a piece of Beatles stuff? I don't know if it's true, but I was having lunch with Walter one day, and he told me that years earlier, when they were shooting A Hard Day's Night at L Street Studios in London, he was having lunch with John Lennon after a very long night of shooting. At that point, they still didn't have a title for the movie, and what's worse, they didn't have a title song. But apparently at some point in the conversation, John recounted how the previous night they hadn't finished until 4 or so in the morning. And he mentioned that Ringo, who always had these weird malapropriisms, weird phrases, had commented in the morning, yeah, that was a hard day's night. And Walter, mid-conversation, said, "Oh, my God, that's the title." So he got John and Paul together, and he told them to go off that night after they were done shooting. He told them to go home and come up with a song called A Hard Day's Night.
And the rest is history.
Yeah, allegedly. Also,
the only other person of note that I saw in there, I can't. What was it? David? Was that the Computer Geeks nerd name?
Yes, yeah.
Played by Merritt. Hold on, what's the name? Merritt Buttrick. That is an unfortunate name.
Yeah.
But no, he was also in Star Trek 2 and 3 and a little show called Square Pegs.
Oh, I remember Square Pegs.
Yes.
Vaguely, but was he one of the leads in Square Pegs?
He was. He played a Valley guy.
One of the other factoids is apparently the place where they filmed the movie, Betty Davis lived in an apartment overlooking the set. So she would come out on some days with her Betty Davis eyes and probably just glare at the monstrosities going on. But apparently she would come out and sit out on her balcony, and the crew would just go apeshit about it. Like, oh, my God, Betty Davis is out there. Look at Betty Davis.
I pictured her heckling them.
Yeah, I would imagine. I can't believe they weren't able to get her to make an appearance in the movie. Come on, Betty, come on.
Betty, please.
Betty, please. Come on. What's the final verdict on Death Spa, gentlemen?
Stupid, but kind of fun in a campy way. I think the same can be said for both movies.
Oh, yeah. I'm more of a plot guy, and like I completely lost the entire plot at some point at Death Spa. Like, apparently, Michael's lawyer and his manager were teaming up in order to make Michael look incompetent to make him lose the spa. So, like, while the poltergeist shit is going on, they're also doing that. So, like, they're getting away with it because everyone's like, "Oh shit, a ghost."
Yeah.
And that's just completely lost in the plot because, like, other shit's happening all the time.
Yeah, that's true. I think they were at one point. One of the girls goes on the new diving board, and the diving board, like, somebody loosened the screws on it. That was probably them. Now that I think about it, but you're right. That plot point was completely lost.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to be. I just watched this movie 2 hours ago, and I completely forgot about that.
Right. I liked it. I liked it better the second time I watched it. I'll probably never watch it again. I might revisit Aerobicide in the future just for some dumb fun. But other than that, I think I'm all Death Spot out. I've reached my limit. I reached my peak.
I think we're in agreement on that one, sir.
I feel the burn in my thighs.
100%.
Yeah. Well, this was fun, old Daniel there. I'm glad you came on.
I'm glad to be on. Thank you for having me.
I still want to do Petey Wheatstraw, by the way. That was a thing.
Oh, my God. I just made Nick watch Dolomite for the first time.
Yeah, I listened to that today. And you made fun of Tommy at the same time, so it was perfect in my eyes.
I knew you'd get a kick out of that one. But yeah, Petey Wheatstraw, that is the extent of my Rudy Ray Moore knowledge is Dolomite, Human Tornado, and Petey Wheatstraw. Petey Wheatstraw is the best of the bunch, so I can't wait.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to do that because we talked about that a while ago, and I did watch it, and then life, I don't know, got busy, and then life went sideways, and now we're in the middle of an apocalypse. So tell the people where they can find you, Mr. Dan.
Oh, man, you can find me at netflixandswill.com. That'll take you to links to our show on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, the places where you find podcasts. But yeah, Netflix and Swill. I assume you're going to talk about Live Stream for the Cure because you're one of the people that's actually aware of it. So I'll leave that to you.
I am aware of Live Stream for the Cure. Dan is the behind-the-scenes guy at Live Stream for the Cure. This will be our third year doing it, Live Stream for the Cure 4. Very excited to do it again. Always one of the highlights of my year to do that, to give back a little bit. It's a live streaming event on Twitch, twitch.com/epicfilmguys. Is that it? Twitch.tv? I don't know what
Twitch.tv.
Yeah. /epicfilmguys. It's a live streaming event to raise money for cancer research. Every year the goal gets raised more and more, and we seem to reach it. I'm a little bit scared this year because of all the unemployments and stuff, but anything we can do, I'll be happy with. So you should be there, folks, listening, enjoying, having fun. At the very least, tune in and throw $1 our way. That would be great. And,
definitely.
And thank you, Dan, for doing all the behind-the-scenes stuff.
Yes,
and,
thank you.
Yeah, that's amazing.
You're the only person that's ever thanked me, so thank you.
Yeah, I mean, without that, I would have never met you, and you wouldn't be on this podcast right now. So there.
That is 100% true, and
Yes.
that would be the greatest shame to all people because no one would have heard of Aerobicide until this point.
I know, like the world would be a deadly. Well, it probably already is. God damn it! Choose your
Very
words
deadly
wisely.
place.
Damn it, Tomko, where can the people find you, sir?
You can find me on a little show called Jake and Tom Conquer the World. We talk about beer, movies, comics, and whatever else we like to geek out to. We have new episodes every Sunday, 6 a.m. Eastern Standard. If you want to get in touch with me, you can find me on Facebook at Jake and Tom Conquer the Group or at The Drunken Dork on Twitter.
By the way, that son of a bitch, Jacob. How's he working on those Ghost Rider movies that he had to do so desperately?
He's actually been working quite a bit from what I understand. He's one of the essential employees that has still got a shitload of deliveries since everybody's ordering things through the internet right now.
I am technically still working both jobs, but my life is a lot easier right now, so I still have time. It's great. So I guess that means next week, what are we going to do, Tomko? Are we going to finally do Straw Dogs and Alfredo Garcia?
I'm game if you are, sir.
Okay, we'll make that happen. You can find me on Miserable Retail Slave, the biggest, dumbest comedy show on the World Wide Web. Please tune in. It's fun. Me and co-host Tommy, we talk about life and the weird things that happen in life, and it's fun. I promise. You'll laugh at least once. That's one laugh is worth it, right? I mean, everything's so grim serious lately. One
You'll
laugh.
hear Tommy workshop some stand-up routines.
Yeah, absolutely. He'll work on some material so he can charge you for it later. He'll be like, "Hey, I heard this. Oh, damn." But if you like this show a lot, there is a Facebook page, believe it or not, that I have not done hardly anything with, but it's there. Someone's favorite movie on the Facebook. Please like our Facebook page. There'll be fun things coming. I have things planned to do on the social medias. Boy, Dan, do you hate promoting stuff on the social media? Because I can't be bothered anymore.
I do the bare minimum. Like I make my post to Twitter.
Yeah.
And then I copy that, and then I post it to Instagram, and then like sometimes I'll just let the post from Instagram go to Facebook, and then other times I'll actually take the time to post to Facebook. But I do as little as possible when it comes to promoting my show on like the socials.
Yeah, I try real hard some weeks, and then some weeks I just lose all hope, and some weeks I'm just too damn lazy because I got better things to do. So, I don't know. I'll try to get better at that, I guess. But it's there on the Facebook, someone's favorite movie. We thank you so much for listening. If you know a movie geek in your life that might enjoy this program, please send them our way. Till next time, we'll see ya.